The stars looked quiet outside the ship, but inside the Aurora, there was tension. Captain Mira stood near the front window, staring at the broken station ahead Nova Sanctuary. Once, it had been a place of healing and peace, a floating medical center with advanced psychic technology. Now it drifted alone in space like a forgotten ghost. Mira turned to her small team. Only 2 others had joined her for this mission: Tariq, the ship's quiet engineer, and Lena, the soft-spoken communication officer. Both stood near the exit bay, checking their gear. They were ready, but unsure of what they would find. "We go in together," Mira said. "No splitting up. Keep your comms open." Lena nodded. "Understood, Captain." Tariq closed his toolkit. "We'll fix what we can. But if it's still active, the station's II might give us trouble." Mira gave a firm nod, then led them through the docking tunnel. The door to Nova Sanctuary opened with a long metallic groan. A thin mist floated out, cold and silent. The lights inside flickered dimly. It smelled like rust, and something older like a memory that had been left alone too long. As they stepped inside, the airlock hissed shut behind them. The hallway stretched ahead, quiet and empty. "This place feels wrong," Lena whispered. Mira didn't respond. She felt it too. They moved slowly through the halls, passing old chairs, fallen tools, and walls with faint burn marks. The station was still powered, but just barely. Lights blinked weakly, and doors opened only halfway before jamming. Then they heard it, a faint sound, like footsteps, but too light, almost like someone walking in a dream. They stopped. Mira raised her hand to signal silence. Again, tap, tap. Tap. Someone was inside. Mira stepped forward, her hand on the small scanner at her belt. The sound came from the central wing. That was where the station's core and live-in quarters were located. As they turned the corner, they saw her, a woman, standing alone in the middle of the hallway. Her hair was short and dark, her clothes old and stained. She stared at the wall, unmoving. Her eyes were open, but looked far away, as if she wasn't really there. Mira stepped closer. "Hello, my name is Mira. We came to help." The woman blinked once, then slowly turned her head. "I didn't call anyone," she said, her voice dry and quiet. Mira lowered her scanner. "We received a signal. It came from this station." The woman looked at the floor. "The station does things, even when you don't want it to," Tariq whispered. "Captain, that's Dana Hall." Mira turned sharply. "The Dana Hall?" "She was declared missing 5 years ago." Tariq nodded. "She was the lead psychic therapist here. No one thought she survived." Dana turned away. "I didn't survive. Not really." The team followed her down the hall. As they walked, Mira noticed something strange. The walls were covered in faint scratches lines, like someone had drawn them with fingernails. Some formed words, but they were old and unreadable. Dana led them to a small room. It had a bed, a table, and a broken screen. She sat on the edge of the bed and folded her hands in her lap. "This is where I sleep," she said quietly. "Where my pain used to sleep." Mira sat down across from her. "What happened here, Dana?" Dana didn't answer at first. She looked toward the ceiling, as if listening. They tried to use the psychic field to heal people. It worked at first, but pain isn't just something you remove. It goes somewhere. It stayed in the walls, in the machines. And when people left, it stayed with me. Lena stepped back, eyes wide. "You mean the station stores emotions?" Dana nodded. "The core is still active. It remembers everything." Mira leaned forward. "And you? Why did you stay?" Dana smiled faintly. "Because I was the one who told them to keep going. Even when it started to fail. I thought we could fix it, but we didn't. They all left. Or died. I stayed because I owed them that." Mira looked around the room. It felt heavy, like the air itself was tired. "We can help," Myra said. "We can shut down the core, reboot the system." Dana shook her head. "You can't just shut it down. If you do, all that pain will release. It needs to be carried out, freed, not dumped." Tariq rubbed his chin. "The psychic energy must be in a loop. No vent. That's why it's still here," Mira stood. "Then we find the core, we understand it, and we help you let go." Dana looked at her for a long time. "No one ever said that before," she whispered. "They just wanted to run. Or destroy it." "I'm not here to destroy," Mira said gently. "I'm here to understand." Outside the small room, the walls hummed softly. Faint voices, maybe echoes, seemed to whisper through the air. Lena's voice broke the silence. "Captain, I think we need to rest here. It's not safe to push further until morning." Myra nodded. "We'll set up a watch. But we stay close. No one goes off alone." As they prepared for the night, Dana sat on her bed, staring at nothing. But this time, her shoulders looked less tense. She didn't speak again, but as Mira passed by, she whispered something Mira could barely hear. "She let me in once, but I was afraid to stay. Maybe this time it will be different." The lights in Nova Sanctuary flickered like a weak heartbeat. In the morning cycle, Mira stood near the hallway with Tariq, holding her scanner close. Dana had already gone silent again, sitting in her room without moving much. But her words from last night stayed with Mira. "She let me in once." There was more to Dana's story, and Mira was sure the truth lay in the heart of the station. She had to understand what had gone wrong and how to help. Tariq was adjusting the power meter on the wall. "Captain," he said, "the systems are very unstable. But some parts are still running." "Like what?" Mira asked. "The psychic field core is still active," Tariq replied. "Not fully, but enough to affect emotions, maybe even thoughts. And there's another thing. The archive room is still online. Might be able to pull old data." Mira gave a short nod. "Let's go." They walked slowly through the station. The halls were still, but Mira felt something following them, not a person, but a presence. It wasn't threatening, but it wasn't peaceful either. It felt sad. When they reached the archive room, the door resisted before sliding open halfway. Inside, everything was coated in dust. Old data screens blinked, showing broken files and flickering lights. Tariq plugged in his portable decoder. "Give me a minute, Captain. I'll try to restore the logs." Myra looked around. The archive had walls covered in memory crystals small, glowing stones that once held thoughts and feelings of patience. Some were dim, others pulsing with strange colors. Then she saw a recording still active. It showed Dana, younger and smiling. She sat at a round table with 3 others. Their names appeared on the screen: Dr. Lin, Technician Morrow, and Patient Rel. They laughed together as Dana explained something about the healing process. "We've made progress," Dana's recorded voice said. "The pain is no longer inside the patient's mind. It transfers to the field gently, where it dissolves over time." Mira leaned closer. The image changed. Now Dana looked different, tired, eyes red. Her voice was slower. "There are problems," she said. "The emotions, they're not dissolving. They're staying in the system, building up. When we tried to transfer Rel's trauma, the field reacted badly. We lost power. Some rooms shut down. He hasn't spoken since." Tariq tapped a few keys. "Captain, I found something worse." He showed her a file. It was heavily damaged, but some parts were still clear. Project Echo Transfer. Emergency report date: 5 years ago. Status: Red alert. Do not attempt further. Emotion downloads. The field is now reacting to any strong thought. 2 members are missing. 1 technician walked into the walls until his body collapsed. We don't know if it was him or the field. Dana has asked to stay behind and monitor. Alone, Mira stared at the screen. She stayed to protect others, or maybe to punish herself. Tariq nodded. The field acts like a mirror. It reflects what's put inside. If she stayed with guilt, then that's what it's been holding. Suddenly, the lights blinked again hard this time. A high sound rang out in the air, like a distant scream. Not loud, but sharp, like pain made into sound. Tariq flinched. "Did you hear that?" Mira nodded. "It's the field. It's awake." She turned toward the door, ready to return to Dana, but stopped when she saw the wall. More scratch marks fresh. This time, a message had appeared. "Let it go before it becomes all of you." Lena's voice came over the comm. "Captain, something's happening in the living area. Dana's not alone." Mira and Tariq ran through the corridor. The air was thick, like walking through fog made of feelings. Sadness pressed on Mira's chest. She felt her own old memories rising: her brother's accident, her long days in silence after Earth's fall. The field was pushing them to the surface. They reached the room. Dana was standing now, eyes wide, breathing hard. Lena stood nearby, frozen, and behind Dana was a shape. A figure made of light and shadows, barely formed. It looked human, but not fully. It had no face. Just a hole where sorrow lived. Mira stepped forward carefully. "Dana, what is it?" Dana didn't blink. "That's Rel, or what's left of him. His pain didn't leave. It became part of this." The figure turned slowly toward Mira, but made no move. "It doesn't attack?" She asked softly. "No." Dana said, "It waits. It wants others to feel what it felt. Alone, trapped, forgotten." Mira reached out slowly, showing no fear. "Then we help it let go." Dana shook her head. "You can't help a memory. You can only release it." Mira turned to Lena and Tariq. "We need to reach the resonance core. If we understand how it holds this energy, maybe we can set it free." Tariq swallowed hard. "We might have to connect directly with it. Open a psychic channel." Mira nodded. "Get your tools. I'll stay with Dana." As the others left, Dana looked at Mira. "You really want to help? Even after seeing all this?" "I do," Mira said gently. "I see your pain. And I don't want you to carry it alone." Dana's lips trembled. "I was so proud of this place. I thought it would heal everyone. But it only hurt them." Mira stepped closer. "That wasn't your fault. You were trying to save people. That still matters." Dana looked down. "I let the pain live here. It sleeps in the walls. It wakes when I cry." Mira gently placed a hand on Dana's shoulder. "And let's wake something else this time. Let's wake hope." Dana closed her eyes. For the first time in years, she let someone stay close, and the station grew quieter, as if listening. That night, the station was still. Captain Mira sat near the room where Dana rested. The walls around her no longer whispered, but a strange silence had taken over, deep and heavy, like something was waiting. Lena and Tariq had gone to check the backup power systems, and Mira took the first night watch alone. She leaned back against the cold wall, eyes half closed, hand resting on her scanner. Everything around her felt soft and distant. Her thoughts began to drift. Then she was no longer awake. Mira stood in a room that wasn't real. It looked like the medical wing of Nova Sanctuary, but it was brighter, warmer. The walls were clean, and the air smelled like flowers. Soft music played in the background. Dana sat in the middle of the room, speaking to someone Mira couldn't see. She was younger here, laughing gently, her voice filled with hope. "You'll be fine," dreamed Dana. Said to the unseen figure, "The pain won't follow you anymore." Mira stepped forward, but her feet made no sound. She called out, but no one heard. Then suddenly, the light dimmed. The walls turned gray. The flowers vanished. Dana was now crying, alone on the floor. "It didn't work," she whispered. "It didn't go away. It stayed with me." A dark shape formed in the corner, like a shadow with a human shape. Tall and still, Mira felt fear rising inside her, but she fought it. She walked toward Dana, knelt beside her, and touched her shoulder. Dana looked up, and for the first time, she saw Mira. "You're not supposed to be here," Dana said quietly. "I'm here because I care," Mira answered. "Because you're not alone." Dana shook her head. "No one stayed. They left when it got bad. I told them to leave. Why did you stay?" Mira asked softly. "To remember," Dana said. "To carry what no one else wanted to carry." The shadow behind them moved closer. Mira turned to face it. It had no face, no eyes, no voice, just a strong feeling of sadness, thick and cold. It didn't attack. It only stood there. Dana spoke again. "That's not someone else's pain. That's mine." Mira reached out her hand. "Then let me share it." The shadow paused. For a moment, everything around them froze. The light flickered, and then Mira woke up. Her heart was pounding. Sweat covered her forehead. She sat up quickly, looking around. She was still in the hallway. The station was quiet. Then she heard a sound. Dana was crying. Mira rushed to her room. Dana sat on the edge of her bed, face buried in her hands. Her whole body shook. Mira sat beside her. "I saw it too," she whispered. Dana looked up, surprised. "You saw the dream?" "I did," Mira said. "I saw you. I saw the shadow. I saw your pain." Dana wiped her eyes. "I never shared it with anyone, not even in dreams. The field must be reacting to us. It's showing us what we need to face," Mira said gently. Dana nodded. "Then, maybe it's time to face it." The next morning, Tariq returned with good news. "The backup systems are stable," he said. "We can reach the resonance core now. But we need to move fast. The emotional energy in the station is building. If we wait too long, it could collapse again." Mira nodded. "Then we go now." She, Dana, Tariq, and Lena prepared for the journey. To the core. It was deep within the station, behind old security doors and failed systems. As they walked, the walls grew colder. The air was heavier. Lena whispered. "It feels like walking through a memory." Dana walked slowly, but with purpose. "The core remembers everything," she said. "Every pain, every tear, every goodbye." They reached the first locked gate. Mira used her command pass to override it. The door opened with a loud groan. Inside was a long tunnel, lined with broken lights. The walls were scratched again, but this time the words were different. "I want to let go. Help me remember without hurting. I'm still here." Dana touched one of the messages. "These are from the others. The ones who tried to heal here." Tariq checked his scanner. "The core is just ahead." They entered a wide chamber, glowing with a soft blue light. In the center stood the resonance core, a large crystal, floating above a metal ring. Pulses of light flowed through it, like a beating heart. But around the crystal were shadows, half-formed shapes, like people made of smoke. They didn't move. They just watched. Mira stepped forward. "Are these the memories?" Dana nodded. "Yes, and they're waiting for someone to listen." Mira looked at the others. "We'll form a link. A shared connection with the core. One thought, one feeling, each of us. We show the field something new." Lena hesitated. "What if it hurts?" "It might," Mira said. "But pain shared is pain reduced." They stood in a circle. Dana reached out and touched the crystal. A soft hum began. Then a light connected each of them, thin lines of blue stretching between hearts and minds. Mira closed her eyes and remembered her brother. His laughter, his final message before the accident. She felt the pain, but this time she let it flow freely. Tariq thought of his old friend who never came back from the last war. Lena remembered her grandmother who used to sing in the garden. Dana stood last. She showed the core everything, the first patient, the first failure, the first time she felt truly alone. The light grew brighter. The shadows leaned in, curious, watching. and then they began to fade, one by one. The shadows dissolved into the light, their forms becoming small sparks that floated upward and disappeared. The crystal pulsed once. Then it grew quiet, the room felt warm. Mira opened her eyes. It worked, she whispered. Dana looked around, her face soft with relief. They're free. Mira stepped toward her. And so are you. Dana didn't speak. She simply nodded, a single tear falling down her cheek, but this time it wasn't from pain. The door to the inner chamber opened slowly, revealing the true heart of Nova Sanctuary, the resonance core room. Unlike the rest of the station, this place was untouched by dust or darkness. Soft blue light glowed from the floating crystal at the center. Clear glass walls surrounded it, and strange energy lines moved gently across the floor. The air was calm but powerful. It felt like standing inside a living memory. Mira stepped forward first, holding her scanner close. "This is it," she said. "The source of everything." Dana followed behind her slower. Her eyes were wide, full of feeling she couldn't hide any more: fear, guilt, hope. Tariq and Lena stood near the entrance, setting up energy stabilizers. The psychic field around the core was strong, and they needed to keep it from rising again. Mira turned to Dana. "You've been here before." Dana nodded. "Many times, but not like this, not since." They were gone. She walked up to the glass and placed her palm gently on it. The light inside the crystal pulsed in response, once, then twice, like it recognized her. Dana spoke. "Quietly, it knows me, it remembers." Mira looked around. "This place doesn't feel angry, just full." Dana nodded. "Yes, it's holding too much. The pain, the sorrow, the loneliness. It never got a chance to rest." Tariq finished, adjusting the stabilizer. "Captain, the core is reacting to our presence. But it's not hostile. I think it wants to connect." Lena looked nervous. "Are you sure we can handle a direct link again?" Mira gave her a calm look. "This time we're ready. We're not alone." She stepped inside the ring with Dana. The glass wall slid open silently. As they entered, the floating crystal shone brighter. Dana touched her chest. "I can feel it, like it's inside my heart." Mira nodded. "That's the field. It's trying to communicate. You spent years in its presence. It became a part of you." Dana turned to Myra. "Then maybe we can help each other now. If I let you in, maybe we can both be free." Mira gently reached for Dana's hand. "You don't have to face it alone anymore." As they stood inside the ring, Tariq activated the core link. A warm light surrounded the two women, and a soft hum filled the room. Then everything changed. Suddenly Mira was not in the room anymore. She was in a memory. But not hers. She stood in a garden, bright and green. The air was sweet, and wind moved through the tall grass. Children laughed nearby. Dana sat on a bench, smiling as she watched them play. "This was the beginning," a soft voice said beside her. Mira turned. Dana stood there, but this Dana was younger, full of hope. "This is the place I imagined," Dana said. "When we started building the station, a dream of peace, of healing." Mira nodded slowly. "It's beautiful." The sky above suddenly turned gray. The wind stopped. The grass faded. The garden vanished. Now they stood in a dark hallway. Red warning lights flashed on the walls. People ran past them, frightened. Smoke filled the air. Dana watched silently. This was the day everything changed. The core took in too much. One patient released a deep trauma into the field. It didn't have space to process it. The feedback, it broke everything. Mira saw a young technician collapse on the floor, screaming and clutching his head. Another worker fell to her knees, unable to breathe. Dana whispered, "I told them I could fix it. I thought, if I stayed behind, I could carry the weight for them." Mira looked at her. "You tried to protect everyone. That's not failure, Dana. That's strength. But Dana shook her head. I didn't protect them. I only delayed the pain. Suddenly, they were back in the present, still inside the ring, still holding hands. The crystal pulsed around them. Mira took a deep breath. Then let's face the pain. Not run from it. Not hide it. Let's set it free. Dana's eyes filled with tears. Are you sure? Mira nodded. I'm with you. Together, they opened their minds fully to the core. The light grew stronger. A wave of emotion flooded the room, not just sorrow, but also love, joy, laughter, fear, and regret. Every memory stored in the system passed through them. Lena and Tariq watched from outside, monitoring the flow. Tariq whispered, "They're doing it. The field is responding." Inside the ring, Mira saw images flashing rapidly, faces of patients, of doctors, of lost friends. But she held steady. She let her mind stay open, calm, and full of care. Dana stood tall beside her. Her back no longer bent by guilt. She breathed deeply, and with every breath, she let go of a memory. One by one, the painful echoes began to dissolve. The crystal's color shifted from blue to soft gold. Then silence. The hum stopped. The light faded gently. The crystal floated quietly, now still and peaceful. Mira opened her eyes. She was back in the room. The core had settled. Dana stood beside her, smiling, a real smile this time. It's over, Dana said softly. Mira nodded. You did it. No, Dana replied. We did. They stepped out of the ring. Lena rushed forward, hugging Dana with quiet joy. Tariq gave a relieved nod. The field is stable, he said. It's no longer storing pain. It's empty now, clean. Mira looked at the floating crystal. It's ready for a new purpose. Dana smiled, her eyes bright. Maybe now, Nova Sanctuary can become what we dreamed. A place of true healing. Mira placed a hand on Dana's shoulder. With you leading it, I believe it can. The station, for the first time in years, felt alive, not haunted, not heavy. Just peaceful. The silence inside Nova Sanctuary was no longer heavy. It was peaceful. Mira, Dina, Tariq, and Lena sat together in the main hall, near the large window that looked out into space. For the first time, the station didn't feel like a prison. It felt like a home. The resonance core had become quiet, its light now soft and golden. The dark feelings once stored inside were gone, released by Dana's courage and Mira's strength. The station had let go of its pain, but there was still work to do. We've calmed the core, Mira said, but the station systems are old. Life support is weak, and we don't know how long the power will last. Tariq nodded. I can try to repair the main reactors. If we can bring them back online, Nova Sanctuary can survive on its own again. Dana looked around the room. And if it survives, maybe it can help others. Just like we first planned, Lena smiled. That's what this place was meant for, right? A shelter, a healer. Mira stood. Then let's finish what we started. While Tariq headed to the engine room to work on the power systems, Mira and Dana walked through the halls together. The scratches on the walls, once painful to look at, now seemed like fading memories. The whispers had stopped. Everything feels lighter now, Mira said. Dana nodded. Because we're not holding it all inside anymore. They entered the therapy wing, once used for healing patients. Most of the rooms were still broken, but one had clean floors and working lights. A few plants had survived in a small hydroponic box. Mira touched the glass. Life still found a way to grow here, Dana smiled. So can we. She moved toward the center of the room, where a large chair and screen were set up. This was where I guided patients into memory sessions. Some were too hurt to speak, but when they entered the field, they could show what they felt. It helped them heal. Mira looked around. And what about you? Did anyone help you? Dana shook her head gently. I didn't think I deserved it. Not after what happened. But you do, Mira said firmly. Everyone makes mistakes. But what matters is what we do after. Dana looked at Mira, her eyes full of emotion. You really believe that? I do, Myra answered, and I believe in you. For a moment, they stood in silence. Then Dana stepped forward and took Mira's hand. Thank you, she whispered, for staying, for not running. Mira squeezed her hand. You let me in. That's where healing begins. Hours passed. Tariq called them through the comm system. Captain, we have power, Myra smiled. You did it? Yes, Tariq said. Reactor 2 is back online. Life support is steady. We can stay here longer now. Even rebuild, Lena's voice joined in. And the external antenna is working. I can send a message to the nearest human colony. They'll hear us. Mira turned to Dana. You ready to share this place with the world again? Dana looked at the window, stars shining bright outside. Yes, but only if it's truly safe now. Mira placed a hand on her shoulder. We made it safe, because we didn't give up. Later that day, Dana returned to the core room one last time. She stood in the center, where the golden crystal floated silently. It no longer felt like a weight on her chest. It felt like peace. Hello again, she said quietly. You held so much for so long. I'm sorry I left it all to you. The crystal gave off a soft hum, almost like a breath. Dana placed her hand on the platform beneath it. But I'm here now. I'm ready to build something better. Mira entered the room and watched from a distance. She saw how strong Dana had become. Not just as a survivor, but as someone who chose to heal. You did more than survive, Mira said. You grew. Dana turned to her. I couldn't have done it without you. Mira stepped closer. That's what makes us human. We help each other. We don't always need machines to do the healing. Sometimes all it takes is one person who cares. Dana nodded slowly. You showed me that. You reminded me what it means to feel without fear, Myra smiled. And you reminded me why we fight for hope. In the next days, the crew began repairing rooms. The gardens were cleaned. The therapy wing was reopened. Old memories were removed gently, and new ones began forming. Messages were sent to nearby human colonies. Nova Sanctuary had become a place of light again. One evening, Dana sat in her old room, the one where she had once cried alone, where her pain used to sleep, but now it was warm. A lamp glowed softly. A plant grew near the wall. Mira entered, carrying 2 cups of tea. I thought you might like this, she said. Dana smiled and took the cup. It smells like earth. They sat on the edge of the bed. This place, Dana said softly, it used to hold so much pain. I didn't know it could feel like this. Mira looked at her. You're not the same person anymore. No, Dana replied. I'm better. They sipped tea in silence, looking out at the stars. Nova Sanctuary floated gently in space, no longer broken, no longer haunted. A home once again. Light poured into the hallway as Nova Sanctuary came back to life. The walls, once dull and silent, now hummed gently with warmth. The soft blue glow of the energy lines flowed evenly through the floors. After many years of silence and sorrow, the station finally felt like it was breathing again. Captain Mira stood near the control center window, her hands behind her back. She watched as the stars slowly moved outside. The view looked the same as when they arrived, but inside, everything had changed. Dana walked in quietly and stood beside her. It feels different now, Dana said. Mira nodded. It is different. It's yours again. Dana smiled, though her eyes were filled with emotion. No, it's ours now. You helped me bring it back. They both looked down through the glass floor, where the garden pods were starting to glow. The hydroponic systems had been restarted. Green leaves stretched upward from long dormant soil. Water flowed through the pipes, and small lights above each pod mimicked sunlight. Lena said the first batch of vegetables will be ready in a few Weeks, Myra said. Dana looked surprised. That fast? Tariq's smart, Myra replied with a small grin. He boosted the nutrient cycles. Even the machines want this place to grow again. Dana turned her eyes back to the garden. I never thought I would see this room alive. You held on, Myra said, even when everything seemed lost. I almost gave up, Dana admitted. But then you came. And you didn't just repair machines, you repaired me. Myra looked at her gently. You did that yourself. I just walked with you. Later that day, the team gathered in the main hall. The central lights were on, and warm tones filled the air. Tariq stood beside a control panel, smiling. I've connected the outer transmitters. He said, we've sent the signal to Earth's nearby colony. They should respond in a few days. Lena clapped softly. The Nova Sanctuary is active again. Donna stepped forward. And this time we'll do it right. No experiments, no shortcuts. Just real healing for real people. Myra added, this place was built to bring hope. Let's make sure it does. Tariq raised his eyebrows. We'll need supplies. More staff, tools, and training. They'll come, Dinah said with quiet confidence. When they hear the story. They'll come. The next morning, Myra walked through the East Wing alone. It was a part of the station they hadn't explored much. She opened each door slowly, checking the condition of the rooms. Most were empty. One room still had old furniture, a broken screen, and faded drawings on the wall. It looked like a child's room. Myra paused and sat on the floor. She picked up a small toy, a plush star with a stitched-on smile. It was old but clean. Left behind long ago. Myra held it in her hands and whispered. Who were you? No answer came, but she felt something. Not sadness this time, just a faint sense of peace. As if someone had once found comfort here. She placed the toy back on the bed. Gently, some pain, she realized, didn't need to be erased. It just needed to be respected. Back in the core chamber, Dana stood alone once again. The golden crystal floated gently, humming softly. It no longer held the burden of others' sorrow. Instead, it pulsed with calm energy like a heart learning to beat again. Dana placed her hand on the platform and closed her eyes. I'm ready, she whispered. The crystal responded with a soft pulse. It wasn't a voice, but it felt like a reply. I know I made mistakes, Dana continued. But I want to learn. I want to teach others how to feel without fear. For a moment, the room warmed slightly, as if the station itself agreed. Myra entered quietly and watched from the doorway. You still talk to it? She asked. Dana opened her eyes and smiled. Yes, it's not just a machine. It listened to people for years. Now it needs someone to listen to it. Myra nodded. Then you're the right person. The day passed peacefully. The crew cleaned the halls, repaired lights, and restarted old systems. Every small action brought new life to the station. In the evening, Donna invited Myra to the garden wing. They sat beside the tall glass windows, watching the stars. I used to sit here alone, Dana said. And I used to think, maybe this is all I'll ever be. Just a shadow, a broken person in a broken station. But now? Myra asked. Donna looked at her. Now I know healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering with peace. It means sharing what hurt you so it doesn't grow inside you. Myra nodded. That's human strength, to feel, to fall, and to get up again. Dana turned to Myra, her voice soft. When I first saw you, I thought you would leave like everyone else. But you stayed. You let me in, Myra said. Where your pain used to sleep. Dana took a deep breath. And now, maybe that space is ready for something new. They sat in silence for a while, side by side. Outside, the stars watched quietly. And inside, Nova Sanctuary finally rested in peace, not empty, but full of hope. Nova Sanctuary was no longer silent. The lights were bright. The halls were clean. Machines worked again, and the green gardens had begun to grow. Even the air smelled fresh. It felt like the station was waking up after a long cold sleep. Mira stood near the docking bay, watching a small ship approach. The rescue signal they had sent out last week had finally reached someone. The ship slowed as it came closer, smooth and quiet like a leaf floating on water. Beside Mira stood Dana. Her hands were calm, and her eyes were full of light. "You're not scared?" Mira asked. Dana shook her head. "Not anymore." Mira smiled. "Good, because this is just the beginning." The ship landed gently. A moment later, its doors opened, and 3 people stepped out, 2 women and a man, wearing clean blue uniforms with the Earth Health Alliance symbol on their shoulders. They looked around, surprised by the station's condition. The leader, a woman with short dark hair, stepped forward. "We received your message. We were told this place was dead." "It was," Mira said, "but it isn't anymore." Dana stepped forward and spoke clearly. "Nova Sanctuary is ready to serve again. But not just as a medical base. This place is more than that. It's a place of healing." The woman looked at her, curious. "And who are you?" "I was part of the original team. My name is Dana. I stayed behind when the others left." The woman nodded slowly. "You survived. That's rare." "I didn't just survive," Dana said. "I listened. I learned. And now I want to help others the right way." The new team looked around in silence. The station's soft humming filled the air, steady and calm. One of them whispered, "It feels peaceful." Mira stepped forward. It's because she faced the pain. And she shared it. The leader looked at Mira. "Who are you?" "Captain Mira of the Aurora repair ship. We came here to fix wires and walls. But we found something much deeper." The woman nodded slowly. "We'll need to report this. A full team will arrive within 2 weeks." Dana smiled. "We'll be ready." Over the next few days, Mira, Dana, Tariq, Lena, and the new team worked together. They set up medical rooms and comfort spaces for future visitors. Old records were cleaned. New schedules were planned. Each person who walked through the station could feel something special in the air. It wasn't just the machines. It wasn't just the lights. It was the feeling that they were part of something meaningful. One evening, Mira found Dana alone in the central garden wing. The plants were growing fast, bright green leaves, small tomatoes, and even flowers beginning to bloom. Dana was gently touching one of the flowers, smiling. "You're getting good at this," Mira said. Dana turned. "Plants grow best when they feel safe, just like people." Mira sat beside her. "You're different now." Dana looked up. "Am I?" "Yes," Mira said. "You used to carry all that pain inside you. Now you're using it to help others." Dana thought for a moment. "I think pain never really leaves us. But when we share it, it doesn't control us anymore." Mira nodded. "That's what makes us human." Later that week, more ships arrived. They brought medical staff, counselors, engineers, and volunteers. Some had heard stories about the station and wanted to see for themselves. Others came because they needed healing. Dana stood at the entrance with Mira, watching the new arrivals. "They're scared," Dana said. Double quotes. "Yes," Mira agreed. "Just like you were." Dana took a deep breath. "Then I know how to help them." She stepped forward and welcomed the newcomers. Her voice was calm and warm. "Welcome to Nova Sanctuary," she said. "Here we don't run from pain. We face it together." People listened. Some cried. Some smiled. And some simply nodded, holding their sadness close, but beginning to let it go. As the days passed, Mira knew her mission was coming to an end. She walked through the station one last time, checking systems, talking to the new team, and saying goodbye to the places that had changed her. She found Dana in the old control room, looking at the stars. "It's time," Mira said. Dana turned to her. "You're leaving?" Mira nodded. "My team has other places to help. other stations, other missions. But I'll never forget this place. Donna stood silently for a moment. You saved me. No, Myra said softly. You saved yourself. I just gave you a reason to try, Dana smiled. Then thank you for not giving up on me, Mira smiled back. You let me in. Where your pain used to sleep. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen. They hugged gently. There were no tears, just deep respect and quiet understanding. A few hours later, Mira boarded the Aurora. Tariq and Lena waved goodbye, and the ship slowly pulled away from the station. Inside Nova Sanctuary, Dana watched from the window. She wasn't alone anymore. Around her, people moved with purpose. Some planted seeds, others cleaned or fixed walls. Laughter echoed through the halls. Even the once silent rooms now held voices, footsteps, and music. The station was no longer haunted. It was a sanctuary. Not just in name, but in spirit. Far across space, a new file was added to Earth's medical archive. Subject: Nova Sanctuary. Restoration note: emotional trauma is not a weakness. It is a story waiting to be heard. And when shared with care, it can become the seed of healing for others and for ourselves. Captain Mira, Aurora Repair Team.